Hello viewers and welcome to another episode of Lancer 101. In today's episode, I will be talking about what you, Lancers, could do on the battlefield on foot. First, let's get this straight. If you are thinking of, say, Titanfall, in which the pilot
is the true dominant force, fast and agile, graceful yet devastating, perceptive, resourceful, and relentless, a pilot sees the world differently.
What exactly are you trying to say here, Mr. Narrator? Are you saying that the pilots are fucking Jedi? Anyway, if you're thinking that your Lancer could do that too, don't, you're gonna die fast. You are called Lancer because you are a damn good mech pilot, you are probably not very good at a lot of other things. This is your base pilot stat, the bare minimum before you add any armor, weapons, or gears, and as you can see from your health, a lot of things can one-shot you before you could even react. You will get beefier as you level up, but that just means you can afford to make mistakes and not fight head-on against an army of mechs and grunts. So, what can a Lancer do? Let's talk about the most obvious thing first. When you are in a mech, you are effectively invincible. You don't have line of sight to the outside, and anything outside doesn't have line of sight to you too, meaning nothing can directly target you. This also includes the gun that breaks everything, the Eject, because while Eject might not even exist, it sure as hell is not impolite. To get in and get out of your mech, you can use the mount and dismount action, just stand right beside your mech to mount, you also get out right next to it after dismounting. Both of these actions cost a full action, which is very costly. If your mech is about to be destroyed, punch the ejection seat. This takes a quick action, and sends you flying 6 spaces in any direction, more than enough to escape the total annihilation of your ride. If your mech somehow survives whatever mess you got yourself into, you could in fact get back in, but since you have launched your seat, you will suffer permanent impaired condition when riding your mech like this until your next full repair. You also cannot eject until full repair afterward, because your ejection seat is gone. When you are out of your mech, pilots follow a rather different set of rules. First, when you make an attack in mech combat, use your grit, not your trigger as bonus. Second, pilot counts as biological character, meaning you obviously cannot be hacked by tech action besides getting locked on and scanned. You still can get shot by drones or smart weapons though, and when you take heat, you instead take an equivalent of energy damage. Third, when you are on the ground, you cannot use your talent to aid you or your allies that are still in their mechs, your talents are effectively useless. Fourth, you can't cause mechs to be engaged, and you don't act as obstruction to them too. As for what you can actually do, you still have a standard move and 2 quick actions or 1 full action, just like within your mech. You also have the following actions available to you, with some pilot-only additions. However, some of the base actions, like search and skill check, is a little different for pilots. When you are searching on foot, you can add bonuses from your trigger if appropriate. Also, you can only search hidden characters within range 5 from you, so it could get dangerously close. As for skill check, it's possible to use your triggers if they are relevant. Now, let's continue on these 3 pilots only actions. Fight is a full action in which you do exactly what it said. Basically, it's skirmish except for pilots, and you can only use 1 weapon with it. As you can see from its action cost, pilot really cannot deal damage effectively with this at all. But if you want to get up close and personal, you can also jockey a mech. Jockey is a full action that basically has you going, I'm going to wrestle with a giant robot, and fucking did just that. To jockey, you must be right beside an enemy mech, and do a contested check with your grit, or trigger if your GM allows it, against the mech's hull. On a success, you climb onto the mech, sharing its space. The mech can buck you off by passing another contested check with a full action, or you can just jump off the mech as part of your movement. When you are jockeying a mech, you can do one of the following. Distract, to make the mech impaired and slowed until the end of its next turn. Shred, to deal 2 heat to the mech. And damage, to deal 4 kinetic damage to it. On each of your subsequent turns, you can continue to pick one of the options as a full action to continue demolishing the mech as long as you are still jockeying it. In short, jockey is more potent as an offensive action than fight, but it's also way more dangerous. But hey, risk and reward. The last action is reload, which is a quick action to reload any of your pilot weapons with a loading tag. In conclusion, fighting as a pilot absolutely sucks, but if you have no choice but to fight, you might have a chance to win. However, if your mech has an AI system installed, You could walk out to fight and do other things while having your mech acting as your autonomous backup. To do so, you can turn the control of the mech over to your NHP as a protocol. You won't be able to do anything with your mech until the start of your next turn, but your mech will gain a set of actions and reaction of their own. With this, you can do your own thing while commanding your mech from the outside as long as there's communication between the two of you. However, your NHP won't be able to benefit from your talents, so it might works a little less well, and to wrestle back the control, you need to get back in to do so as a protocol. And then there's also a little problem with NHP, which is that any mech that has a 1 out of 20 chance of going cascade whenever it takes a structure damage or overheating check. Basically, they are now out of control, which you can only retake by shutting them down, from the inside. If not,
nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Anyway, with all the fundamental rules on mech combat done, I suppose it's time to teach you how to make your own Lancer in the next episode. That's all for now, and I will see you all next time.